All right. So that's the end of the NFL draft, and let's talk about it. You know, so how did the Jets particularly do? Um, I think they did pretty decent. Now, let's talk about each and every pick. I know you saw my reaction to round one. I am going to talk about how I feel about all these picks round one to the later rounds. But I know you guys saw my reaction in the shorts, in the YouTube shorts with David Bailey, Sadiq, and Omar Cooper. Now I'm going to talk about it more in detail in this video, and then the later round picks I'm going to talk about more about detail and give my grade on each pick. Now, number two overall, this caused a lot of discourse online on, you know, this caused a lot of discourse online on why you're taking David Bailey at number two. You should pick Arvell Reese. Me personally, I would have taken Arvell Reese, but I don't mind the David Bailey pick. If anything, I would have been fine with either or, honestly. David Bailey is certainly a guy that helps this team today. And you know what? This is a guy that's going to get pressure on the quarterback. The problem with the Jets defense, number one, we couldn't cause a turnover, but number two, we couldn't get to the passer. We couldn't rush the passer. Now we have a guy that is guaranteed to go downhill and rush the passer. So this guy has a lot of potential. I know he is not Arvell Reese, and I know people were expecting to take Arvell Reese here, but David Bailey is not that far of a drop off, ladies and gentlemen. He is certainly worth this number two overall pick. And he is a guy I think can be a game changer at edge. He's a game wrecker. That's the point. And David Bailey, I believe, um, is certainly a guy that is probably the most talented edge the Jets have ever had since John Abraham. I mean, and it's clear when you watch his tape. This guy can get after your quarterback. So I give that pick an A minus, but an A minus. It is a good pick. It is a pick that helps the Jets right now, and it's a pick that that provides production, and that is a key word, production for this draft. Everybody, we need players. We need players that can produce. The Jets didn't have any players that can produce. Yes, some of these names, they might not be the sexiest names. They might not be the names that we talked about going all the way back uh, in November last year, but it's certainly names that can provide production and actually help you um, in the future. So Kenyon Sadiq, when the pick was first made, I was confused by it. I was not 100% on board. But then after the Jets, what the Jets did later on, it made more sense. But going at it face value, when it initially happened, I thought of it as a B minus pick because it didn't necessarily fill a need, but at the same time, I mean, it's nothing against Kenyon Sadiq. He's a very good player. Honestly, I think he is a terrific player. If your name is the Freak Sadiq, you got to have game, and this guy can ball. He can move. He's a big dude, and he is certainly a freak athlete, as they say. So he is a weapon. He is a guy that defensive coordinators are going to lose sleep over, I believe. But look, I know people are upset about this pick, and I'm an LSU fan. I should know because I was psyched when we picked Mason Taylor last year. Look, when you really looked at it last year, Mason Taylor was not a tight end one. That is the unfortunate reality that some of us Jet fans we're gonna have to swallow a little bit. Mason Taylor was not a tight end one. He was a tight end two. And that's not that bad. You know, he could still be productive as a tight end too. Now you're not giving him the responsibility of doing everything that a tight end one is going to do. And now this pushes Jeremy Ruckert a little bit to be a little bit of a role player instead of a starting player, where he's going to be a swing tackle every single play. and maybe a sometimes a one or two catch a game type of guy, maybe. I don't know. But um, it certainly pushes Jeremy Ruckert down the line a little bit and is unfortunately as much as I like Jeremy Ruckert as a person and he's a Jet fan, he grew up in Lindenhurst. Um, he's not a starter, and that's unfortunate. He's not a starting player. He's more of a role player. I see him more as a role player. So Sadiq is definitely pick that does help this offense out. But later on in the draft, the Jets traded up to go back into the first round, and just like that, this pick went from a B minus to a B plus because this pick made a whole lot of sense and definitely helped the Jets offense out even more. Omar Cooper. Uh, if you think that this guy, if you have questions about this guy, go look at the game winning play, the Fernando Mendoza quote unquote Heisman moment against Penn State. I mean, again, I'm not taking that play away from Fernando Mendoza, but that play looked like Fernando Mendoza was throwing the ball away, and this kid, Omar Cooper, making a Santonio Holmes like catch at the back of the end zone. Insane. This guy is totally a wide receiver, too. And he definitely is an amazing compliment to Garrett Wilson. Awesome pick here. Great value. You could have gotten him at 16. You get him at 30. As well as you bring in Kenyon Sadiq now, that get bumps that pick up to a B plus. This is an A plus pick, and the first round to me was an A plus. I love the first round of the draft. You get three players that are definitely starters that can help your football team right now. I love this first round. Now, to the second round, day two, we made one pick, which, you know, I believe was a very good pick. And it was a position of need, which was a must. D'Angelo Ponds. Now, the NFL Network kind of made a joke that this guy's Aaron Glenn. He is. That's who he is. And I'm telling you guys right now, this guy is a playmaker at the cornerback position. We did not record a single interception last year. This guy is going to record, is going to get us an interception this year. And he's going to be the first guy to do it. He is going to be the guy that is going to be in week one to pick off whoever we play. He's going to be the guy to get the first interception the Jets had in one full year. I'm telling you guys right now, D'Angelo Ponds is a playmaker. Okay. Don't believe me. When we were all watching Dante Moore in that semifinal game against Indiana, remember when he threw that pick six? You know who caught that pick six? D'Angelo Ponds. How ironic. So, in a twist of fate, we didn't get Dante Moore, but we got D'Angelo Ponds. I mean, it's a great play for the Jets anyway. So, um, unique twist of fate right there for the New York Jets right there. And he also caused another play in the playoffs where he knocked Ty Simpson out of the Alabama Indiana game, which really blew that game open to becoming a massive blowout. I remember Alabama was just trying to drive to just keep the game competitive. Ty Simpson makes a nice move, goes out in the run, and then D'Angelo Ponds just freaking rocks him on on uh, uh on his way, and then it causes a fumble, which Indiana recovers, and just like that, that entire game just broke loose, and Alabama couldn't recover from it. And Ty Simpson was out for the game, and that's the hit that kind of ended his college career. And also Ty Simpson as a Ram, but this is about the Jets. So D'Angelo Ponds, hell of a pick, A plus pick, awesome. Now let's go into day three, which I think was, compared to day one and day two, a little bit of a disappointment for the Jets. A little bit. Um, Not as bad as last year, though. Honestly, I don't think it was as bad as last year, is what people are saying. But it was certainly a disappointment on day three. So uh, the one pick I actually liked today, it was Daryl Jackson Jr. To me, he's an A minus to an A type of guy. Certainly great value. I believe he's certainly a Quentin Williams replacement. He's certainly a guy that's going to try to become a starter, and I think he is going to make a lot of plays for the squad. And he fills out a position of need, and he is a guy that is certainly intriguing. Uh, the pick that bothered me, if there was a pick that bothered me this draft, it's not so much the player or the position, it's the way the Jets maneuvered their board here. Because I just didn't get why they did this. Because the Jets going into today, they had three fourth round picks. They sacrificed one of them and a pick swap to trade up for Cade Klubnik, which look, he was my quarterback six. He kind of was just outside the top five for me, but like I y- you could have gotten him with your other two fourth round picks. I don't think you should have traded up for him. I mean, it made no sense. So I would give this personally uh a C plus to a B minus. At best, he could be your quarterback two for the future, I guess. Had a very good, sorry about that, had a very good 2024 season. People were saying like, "Oh, this guy's a first round pick." Falls off a cliff in 2024. Is it because of the team itself? Because that entire Clemson team fell off a cliff. I mean, everyone was saying like, "Oh, Clemson, they have a bunch of players." I remember during during last summer when people were talking about this draft, like people were saying, "Oh, Clemson has a lot of great players going into this draft." All of them dropped. So, I mean, Clemson as a team kind of fell off a bit, and most of those players dropped, especially Cade Klubnik. Um, Certainly has some traits, and has a lot of big game experiences. The arm is not something you can write off. I mean, I believe the arm is hit or miss, but all I can say is when he hits the moon ball, it is a thing of beauty. He is certainly a guy, if you can get him accurate on the deep ball, he is certainly a guy that I'm not gonna say it, but he might, I use the keyword might become dangerous. But my confidence is very low because the Jets historically, when it comes to later round quarterbacks, it's not that good. It is pretty bad. So I give this pick a C plus to B minus, honestly. I mean, it's a swing at least, but it's not the swing I would have done. I would have picked Nussmeier. Um, I probably would have picked Nussmeier. He was sitting right there. When they made the trade, I thought like, oh, this is probably Nussmeier, and it turned out to be Cade Klubnik. I was like, oh, okay, that is completely unexpected. So C plus to B minus, kind of iffy on that one still. Um, Again, nothing against the player, just the way they traded up bothers me. You could have gotten him probably with your last fourth round pick. um, and then we picked a guard, Anise Cooper. Fills a need. B plus. Honestly, he fills out a need. He's a B plus to me. He's definitely a depth player, but certainly a guy that you know, we'll see. But he's certainly a guy that's going to be a depth player, and he played most of his snaps on right guard instead of left guard. We're more in need of left guard because AVT left and John Simpson left. But maybe they're trying to fill out a role for him. Whether that be a backup guard or you know swing like a guy that comes in for an injured player, maybe. I don't know. But there is certainly a plan for this guy. And I do like the pick. You can't have I mean, you can't have too many guards, honestly. Too many guards is a good thing. You know, you got to have as much line depth as possible because if anything, those are the guys that go down the most in the NFL. Those are the guys that get hurt the most because they are in the trenches and they get hurt the most. So the more depth on the O line, the better. So I give a B plus to A minus on that, and then we go safety VJ Payne. I love the name though. VJ Payne. He brings the pain. I love it. So VJ Payne, safety, position of need. You know, I hope he's not Tony Adams. I hope he's not Tony Adams. But he's certainly a guy that, again, may I repeat myself, fills a need, and we'll see. Safety position other than Minka Fitzpatrick is, not too crazy. But maybe this guy, VJ Payne, is gonna bring the pain with Minka Fitzpatrick. I love that name though. When your last name is Payne, that is the coolest football name. That is a very cool football name. I'm just saying that right now. VJ Payne. That is I love it. But again, I give I give a B because honestly, I would have loved if the Jets, used those fourth round picks that they traded for Cade Klubnik. They would have used that last fourth round pick to draft Cade Klubnik, and they would have used the second fourth round pick that they had. I would have used it on a safety, honestly, because that's kind of a bigger need, a little bit of a bigger need than most on defense, even though we need a lot. And, we need more D linemen. We definitely need a linebacker. That is something that is very missing in this draft right now. That is something that I believe is very missing in this draft. And, it's unfortunate because we had Jacob Rodriguez right as we were sitting at the 44th pick, but the Dolphins sniped him from us. So there you go. I mean, of course, that happens. But no linebackers in this draft. I guess they're going to focus on linebacker next year with the quarterback. I mean, I don't know. I guess they still believe in Jamie and Sherwood. They believe in Jamie and Sherwood. Look, Demario Davis is there, is here. So, look, Demario Davis, he can still give you production. He's up there in age, but he can still provide production for you. But honestly, I would have liked to just at least taken a shot at a linebacker somewhere. So yeah, if there's one really big gripe I have, it is not taking a single linebacker in this class. That is my one gripe. But overall, I'm leaning between two grades. Just honestly, because I would give this draft an A minus because if it was an A solid, a regular A, just an average A, I think the thing that kind of bumped it down for me was the Cade Klubnik sort of thing, or the trade up for Cade Klubnik. It just made no sense. But we'll see. I mean, we never know. Who knows? Maybe call me crazy. Maybe Cade Klubnik turns into something. I mean, that could change things a little bit, but I doubt it. There's an A minus draft. I like the decisions that Muji and Glenn have made. Is Glenn going to be here next year? Is Muji going to be here next year? That is going to be the question I think every Jet fan is going to be asking in that slow descent into the 2027 draft after we go through this season. So, phase one is done. in this rebuild. Phase 1 is done. We're going to have to go in through the season and see where we're at, and then go into Phase 2, which is most likely getting the quarterback and shoring up more things on our shoring up more things on this roster so we can finally, again, finally get out of this cycle of suck that is this playoff drought. Please, can we just start being competitive for once? But we'll see. Yeah, A minus draft. Love the first round. Love day 2. Day 3, little bit of a disappointment. But honestly, if you disagree with me, be sure to leave a comment. Like, subscribe. Yeah, I mean, this has been a fun NFL draft, and you know what? I started this YouTube channel to start talking about this draft. I mean, my first video was about the whole debate with Arvell Reese versus David Bailey. I'm sure going to be hearing that with a lot of Giants fans out there. So that's going to be still a debate that I'm talking about with other New York Giant fans. So that's something that's still going to be stuck with me, I guess. But yeah, I'm going to be covering the Jets throughout the season. Minicamp, if there's strange rumors that go around during minicamp, the schedule's coming out pretty darn soon, so we'll figure out who we're playing opening day. The betting favorite, I believe, is the Tennessee Titans, because we know those schedule makers, they love to put the Jets on revenge games week 1. Last year was Rodgers and the Steelers. The year before that, I remember one year it was it I remember one year before that it was Sam Darnold and the Panthers. So as soon as the NFL sees a revenge game opportunity with the Jets, they always slate that in week 1, always. So Jets Titans week 1 feels like a given. So I mean, I'd be very shocked if it's another team week 1, but we'll see. Well, that's it for draft season, and it's on to the 2026 NFL season, where I hope this playoff drought comes to an end, but most likely won't, because we're the Jets. So, yeah, I'll leave it at that. Thank you, and have a good one, everybody. See ya.